Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Blind Spottings, and their tagline is, unfortunately, "There is only Agtha." The original OP is Administrative Main 7 and r/Just No Mother-in-Law and r/Legal Advice. First posted August 13th, 2018. I caught my future mother-in-law trying to squeeze into my wedding dress. Spoiler, it didn't go well. First time poster, but a long time lurker. Hi everyone. I've been engaged to my fiance for a year. We're planning to be married in December in Colombia, and of course, I'm beyond pumped. It's going to be a destination wedding for us, and I was very happy that I was able to talk him into having one. My soon-to-be mother-in-law is extremely upset about this. I always knew that she wasn't really my biggest fan. She's polite and very fake-friendly, but she'll do things like sit on my fiance's lap or tuck his hair behind his ear and cut his food for him. On occasion, I actually saw her actually feed him in public. However, to my fiance's credit, once I told him that I thought that was beyond weird, it never happened again. Future mother-in-law is very upset about our destination wedding. She thinks we'll all be murdered. I roll. Bitches constantly about the cost of her airfare, the size of the wedding, the guests that won't be able to come, the thought of my fiancé getting malaria, the fact that she hates no one in Colombia speaks English. You get the picture. I try to limit her exposure to my wedding planning, though when I do this, she complains to my fiancé behind my back on how she's being excluded. She came over yesterday, theoretically to see our new house, but instead offered the following criticisms. She hates my engagement ring. It's far too extravagant, and there are children starving in Africa and people die for these rocks. It's moissanite. Our house is an extravagant display of wealth and just isn't us. It's a townhouse that we got a steal on. I'm getting fat, need to watch the calories so I can fit into my dress. Future mother-in-law, meanwhile, is bragging about her diet and how chic and slenderizing her mother-of-the-bride dress is. This delightful conversation was interrupted by my fiancé asking me to help him put a bed in the spare guest room together. So I left future mother-in-law to her own devices and Netflix while I helped. About 40 minutes into assembly, I went to go take a bathroom break and headed into the master bedroom. And what do I find but future mother-in-law struggling to yank my dress over her head, but was freaking stuck. I blurted out, "What the hell?" And she immediately started stammering, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh god!" At that point, my number one concern was her tearing the sheer backing off my dress, so I rushed over to help her. It was all for naught, as she managed to scratch her way through the back of the dress and completely destroyed the sheer material. She burst the side zipper of the dress and got a dirty footprint on the train. I asked her, as soon as I got her out of the dress, and I want to note with huge amounts of disgust that she was wearing no underwear, what the hell was she thinking? She responded that she was just trying to make sure the dress would fit me, because if the dress fit her, then it absolutely fit me too. If it didn't fit her, then I obviously had some work to do. Never mind that I just had my final fitting and it had fit like a glove. My future fiancé is very disturbed by what happened. I'm also disturbed, mostly because I doubt she was trying to just try on the dress for funsies. There was also a bouquet of dried flowers in the bed that wasn't there before. I think the bitch was actually trying to pretend she was the bride, which for so many reasons is so wrong. She hasn't offered to pay for any of the repairs to the dress. A section of the train is ripped. I have no idea how much it's going to cost until I can get to the seamstress tomorrow. In the meantime, in lieu of an apology, she's lecturing me on spending so much money on a wedding dress, and clearly the trouble she had getting into the dress was a sign to get something less dramatic and ostentatious. It's taking everything in me to tell her to not pound sand. I'll wear my fucking Galia Lahav dress to my goddamn grave, and she'd better not say anything about it. Relevant information from the comments. OP. I haven't gone scorched earth mostly for my fiance's sake. Her claws are in him deep. I think to an extent he realizes how ridiculous she is and how creepy her behavior is, but it's just so normal to him. Like when I called him out about how creepy and weird her feeding him in public is, he was really defensive at first, but then agreed that he could see it as being creepy. I've told him that she's going to pay. He responded that he'd cover the bill himself if it was crazy. I feel like that misses the point, but it's almost like he's in denial about how insane the situation is. Commenter: totally understandable. I can't even fathom that scene ending with anything other than both partners screaming at mother-in-law to get out of their house and start writing checks for the damage she caused. Mother-in-law wouldn't have had even a chance to try and turn it around. Did they just let her throw her clothes on and act like nothing happened? OP responds: I've gotten some PMs about this, but I'll post it here so the post is public. The short answer is no. I had a full-blown panic attack. I was screaming at future mother-in-law, apparently I was shaking the dress at her, and my fiancé intervened and grabbed me out of the room. He claims that he told her to get dressed and leave. I don't remember this, but I was also in the middle of trying to breathe and not throw up. By the time I had calmed down and was on the couch, she had vanished. I want to say that I've had limited exposure to future mother-in-law up until now. She was living in the West Coast up until 2 months ago. She moved back in the area because she could no longer bear being apart from her baby. I don't think it's without coincidence that she chose to move back after fiancé shut down her suggestions about the wedding. My fiancé and I are headed to the seamstress today together to evaluate the damage. I'm not very hopeful. Update: August 16th, 2018, and r/legal advice. My future mother-in-law ruined my wedding dress by attempting to try it on. It's beyond repair. Can I take her to court? I'm located in Virginia. I purchased a wedding gown that cost me over $11,000, then paid substantially more in alterations. Over the weekend, my future mother-in-law decided to attempt to put on my dress and failed horribly. Long story short, it's beyond repair and completely ruined. I also have reason to believe that she caused deliberate damage to the dress because of certain areas that were torn. My fiancé doesn't believe that we're able to take her to court and recoup the money because it's just a dress, and he thinks the cost of the dress doesn't meet some financial threshold to sue her. Oh, it fucking does. I want to know if that's true, and if it would be feasible to file a police report on her because of more deliberate damage. I know it's just a dress, but this goes beyond the dress. Update to the mother-in-law that ruined my wedding dress. The wedding is off. September 9th, 2018. Hey, everyone. First of all, thank you for all of your sweet comments and support. I'm sorry that I haven't kept everyone in the loop, but the last several weeks have truly been trying, to say the least. First things first, the wedding is off. We're still together and remain engaged, but things are very, very strained between us. The only thing that has really stopped me from leaving this relationship is that I love him from the bottom of my heart, and I can see how much this is hurting him. I really want to work past this if we can. We're both committing to seeing a couples therapist. After future mother-in-law ruined my dress, my fiancé confronted her by telephone and demanded that she help cover the damages to the dress. She refused because she said it was an accident and she really was just trying to help. She literally tried to spin this as her fucking helping me by, and I quote, giving me a standard to aspire to. And she also fucking admitted that she just wanted to feel as young and beautiful as me. The worst part is that he believed her bullshit. At this point, after she refused to pay, I started pitching a fit until my fiancé said that we shouldn't jump to conclusions on the damages until we visited the seamstress. Fine by me. We went together, and the assessment was that it is completely trashed. It is beyond repair. The beading in some parts is absolutely destroyed. The sheer back of the dress was torn to shreds from her disgusting fake nails. She also ripped the tulle on my train, and the seams were split so badly, and she torn through other parts of the dress to the point where they were beyond repair. Hearing how badly my dress was mutilated crushed me, but my fiancé's reaction at the seamstresses enraged me. He kept minimizing the damage, pointing out how certain things absolutely could have been an accident, and he lied out of his ass to the seamstress to tell her that the dress had an accident when his mother attempted to relive her model days. I corrected course and said no, that she tried to put it on without my permission, knowing damn well that she didn't fit into it, and deliberately destroyed parts of it in the process. The real fun started when we got home and I told him that if she didn't pay, then I wanted to sue her for the damages to the dress. He told me some bullshit about how the cost of the dress didn't meet the thresholds for a lawsuit. Okay. I took my ass straight to the internet, posted to the legal advice subreddit, and Googled the thresholds for small claims court in Virginia before printing all of the responses I got and forcing him to read them. He conceded that she owed us something and called her, with me sitting there. As I sat there, I shit you not, he argued with her for all of 5 minutes before she broke down sobbing, accused him of not loving her, called me trash for turning him against her, and how could money be more important than her love for him? He actually soothed her and told her that he understood, but I'm being super emotional over the dress and this would help it blow over. She started babbling and sobbing, and he said that he'd talk to me. After they hung up, he had the nerve to turn to me and say that all he wanted was peace and to please just let him pay for the dress and let this go away. I lost it. I screamed at him. I cried harder than I probably ever have cried because I honestly feel that he took her side over mine. I told him that it wasn't about the dress, and that if he genuinely believed that this was over an overpriced dress at this point, then we needed to cancel the wedding and he and his mommy could have a nice vacation to Colombia without me. We argued and, like he's been doing, told me that he saw my point. I told him that I didn't want her at the wedding. Shockingly, he agreed. I sat next to him the next day when he called her and told her that because of what happened, we couldn't have her at the wedding. I actually felt proud when he hung up on her after she screamed and sobbed about how he can't do this. I began to consider that maybe I was wrong about how he refused to stand up to his mother. That is, until I was on our shared iPad. I rarely use the iPad because I'm way happier with my Kindle, but I'll reach for the iPad in the rare event that my Kindle is out of juice and my phone is out of reach. While I was using it, what pops up? But a message from future mother-in-law asking about the best way to purchase discount flights to Colombia. I scrolled through the messages and he had folded the very next day, saying that he had disinvited her for my sake, but he still wanted her at the wedding, and he'd slowly work on changing my mind, and hopefully on the weekend of the wedding, I'd be feeling forgiving and welcome her, and if not, I could deal with it. I lost my motherfucking mind. I actually packed my bags. He was the one that ended up leaving to stay with his friend while I stayed in the house. The fight wasn't pretty. And that's about where we're at right now. We have both committed to couples counseling. It's a must. I feel played right now. And that's what he was trying to do. Play both sides. We both agree that the best thing to do for us is to postpone the wedding until trust is reestablished. Deposits be damned, and if anyone asks, I tell them the entire story. Future mother-in-law has decided to come between us in the worst way. Future mother-in-law, for the most part, is fuming and trying to spin this into me being a trashy, greedy harpy that's determined to bring her and her precious baby nothing but misery. She's tried to come to our house several times to collect her baby and his belongings, but I haven't answered the door. Fiancé, to his credit, has blocked her on his phone and hasn't told her where he's living right now. He's got no contact and has agreed to no contact until we begin therapy. He's turned over all of his passwords and the iPad so I can check his messages when I want to. And trust me, I am checking. I love him. I want to be able to go the distance with him, but while future mother-in-law is in the picture, I just don't think I can. For fuck's sake, I'm looking through his email accounts and messages for contact from his mother. I can't even begin to explain just how fucked up that is. Sorry for the long post. Please wish us luck in therapy. I'm having a hard time keeping my hopes up. This has been the worst month. Update, September 14th, 2018. Future mother-in-law that destroyed my dress has decided stalking me at work, showing up at the house and the grocery store to get a glimpse of her baby is appropriate. This has been the cherry to top off a not-so-fabulous week. To everyone that so bashed my husband, PM me to tell me how weak and pathetic I am, tell me I'm stupid, trust me. You think I don't get how this looks to other people? He isn't getting away with anything. I know seeking help and counseling looks stupid to other people, but it's my relationship. Please respect that. Also to the vicious people that are reading my posts and then immediately posting them to Facebook or other websites so they can post nasty things or try to find out my identity, there's a special place in hell for you. If this keeps up, I can't post here anymore. I have too many people that are reaching out to me, trying to guess my identity and future mother-in-law's identity, and it's becoming extremely stressful. The only reason I'm posting here is to ask other ladies here for advice on dealing with a future mother-in-law that's getting increasingly aggressive. There's several new things to report. One being that my fiancé has kept his end of the bargain. He's had no contact with future mother-in-law. How do I know? I'm religiously checking his accounts. And she's also losing her mind. This week, I've woken up to the following. My Ring app has gone off 4 times, all at odd hours of the night. It's her. I have footage of her shoving notes under my door. Nasty notes, shoved under the door, demanding to talk to my fiancé and accusing me of driving a wedge between them. Text messages asking me why I'm forbidding contact between fiancé and his mother and how unnatural it is to stop a son from seeing his mother. I'm going to burn in hell and am a disgrace to womanhood. She's come to my work. When I refused to see her, security escorted her out. When I pulled out of the parking garage, I saw her waiting by the employee entrance. Fiancé and I typically go shopping on Wednesday nights. She knows this because she's gone with us a couple of times. Guess who was waiting for us in the parking lot at 7 p.m.? We didn't get out of the car after we saw her pacing around the entrance. I'm documenting everything just in case she continues to get crazier. Fiancé and I will be going to the local police department tomorrow to file a report and look into getting a temporary restraining order. Thank you to everyone that's offered me kind words, support, and even offers of baked goods. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate you. Well, considering that's where the story ends, unfortunately, I can only assume that Redditors, being in their infinite wisdom, decided that harassment was still 100% on the table and caused OP to distance himself from actually updating as to what the fuck was going on. So, great work, Reddit. You guys are just knocking it out of the park, aren't you? I'm sorry, if you're ever in a position where your mother-in-law or future mother-in-law or whoever destroys something that's over $11,000, that is 100% and either you pay up right now or this is going to court, without a doubt. Also, there is no way in hell the husband actually thought, well, you can't sue someone for $11,000, that's not enough money. Yeah, it very much is. Hell, that's even entering criminal territory right there. I hope that OP, with the way that this was going, the husband actually realized just how fucking insane his mother was, just on every front. From how she treats him, her obsession with him, her dependency on him, to just her general behavior and the way she breaks down to manipulate him, and he falls hook, line, and sink every time without fail. Just yikes. Also, the wake-up call that she must have had when she realized that after making fun of her future daughter-in-law's weight over and over again, that she can't fit into the wedding dress that was actually made to fit her, like a glove. What a wonderful way to find out you're not all that. Credit to OP for at least doing what she can to make this work in the long term, and hopefully it paid off, because, I'd be pretty intent on making sure the mother-in-law pays, that's for damn sure. Honestly, the moment that I realized that she's stalking, I would have gotten a process server with the little court case ready to go right then and there. Just to serve her, because she can't escape that now. Like, congratulations. Now you really gotta deal with this, and you can't just hide behind your son playing defense for you and believing every little lie and excuse you throw my way. God, I really hope that OP was able to actually just get things sorted out, because this sucks. This post was collected by Secure Raspberry 763, and their tagline is, Madam of the Brothel by default. The original OP is Throw RA Sad Husband 8, who posted to r/mytheasshole October 21st, 2024. Am I the asshole for bringing up just how much I actually do for our household to my wife? Can't believe I actually have a reason to post something on Reddit, but here I am. My wife, 41 female, and I, 42 male, have been married for 15 years. I apparently surprised her by being capable of doing household chores and tasks, which I didn't think much of. My mom always asked me to help out with chores when I was a kid, so I didn't think it was beneath me or anything. I do think I inherited her need to clean excessively, like it's so bad that I can't eat until a mess is dealt with. My mom is an amazing cook, my aunt was a literal chef at a fancy hotel, and my dad loved having barbecues. It was pretty natural to learn from them and pick up a thing or two. The only thing I didn't pick up was how to make a decent cup of tea or coffee. I'm genuinely awful at it. It got to a point where I was handling most of the household chores and taking care of cooking, which I prefer anyways since she comes home exhausted. I've been asking our children, 11 female and 9 male, to do some minor tasks around the house and hopefully teach them this sort of thing too. She has a group of friends who hang out regularly. This time, it was her turn to host the group at her home. I offered to take our children out for the day, and it was all set. Before we left, I had to finish up some things for work. The office space is practically on top of our living room, so I could hear what they were talking about the entire time. One of the friends asked how she always kept our house so spotless, and my wife just bragged about how she was responsible for it all. Then they all started talking about their gripes with their marriages. A common theme was how unhelpful their spouse were. I felt pretty uncomfortable, so I just left the office and went out with the kids. I came back after they had left for the night and acted as normal until we got to our bedroom. I asked her what was up with that conversation they had and pointed out that I did the cooking and cleaning in our marriage. She told me not to take it personally and that she just wanted to fit in with the struggles of her friends. Now I just feel unappreciated, especially since I don't clearly remember any genuine gratitude for what I do from her. Since then, she's been pretty short with me. She says I'm weaponizing what I'm doing against her and holding it over her head. I don't expect her to compliment me each time I clean or defend me religiously. Just a little, my husband is pretty helpful actually, he does his share. Would be nice. I can't help but feel like her friends think I'm some sort of deadbeat who comes home to relax and neglect her. Update 1, October 23rd, 2024. I'm pretty shocked this post went as viral as it did, and I tried my best to speak to my wife yesterday. I just can't believe that this is the woman I married. I tried speaking with her, telling her that what she did wasn't that big of a deal, but was still not a nice thing to do. She didn't like me bringing it up again and just told me to suck it up and stop bitching about one mistake. She apologized, but in a tone that just sounded like she was just tired of dealing with this. I noticed her getting very heated on the verge of starting an argument, so I backed off and switched to a different topic. I asked if we could adjust our duties at home to be more fair for both of us, since most of our management fell to me. I mean, pretty much 90% of things like cooking and cleaning, including planning for our date nights or vacations for our family, rely on me. I do think it's an issue that she gets to come home and just tell me that she's tired. Then she got up in my face, telling me I had no right to lecture her about chore duties when I'm practically at home most of the time. She completely refused to hear me out and basically told me that what we have works best for our situation. She threw in my face that she was the moneymaker and that balanced everything out in the end. Even this morning, she was pretty annoyed with me, coming downstairs in a bad mood. I'm very sure our kids noticed it too, but I drove them to school after they got ready. When I got back, I noticed that my wife left her packed lunch on our kitchen counter. So now I'm sitting here, just feeling like the woman I've known for 15 years hates me. I guess I'll have to push this issue properly, even if she gets angry. She's been ignoring my texts and attempts to call her. I can't just let her act like this, especially in front of our children. Update 2, October 24th, 2024. I think I'm just done at this point. I did something I never did before and went into her phone while she slept. We both know each other's passwords, so it wasn't really difficult. Some of the cheating comments got to me and I felt pretty paranoid about this situation. Instead, I found a group chat with some of her work friends, different from the other friends she had over. It was just non-stop mockery of me and some of the stuff I did for her. She told them how embarrassed she feels with me and that I dote on her like a parent and don't feel like her husband. The lunches I pack for her are humiliating because I had sweets and other treats I know she liked. Some of her coworkers teased her about the snacks I have in for her, and she admitted to just throwing them out at work. She doesn't have any issue eating them at home, but at work, she throws out my baking? She had some choice words to say about me in her chat, some of which I don't have the courage to type out here. One of her meme pictures was of me on my knees scrubbing a bathroom tile, edited to have some sort of dress on like I was some sort of housewife from the 1960s or something. I just closed her phone and left the bedroom. I confronted her about the chat in the morning and the contents of it, which got her panicking. I focused on our kids this morning and left her to her own devices. It's not like she would have appreciated a kid's lunch anyways. Kids lunch being in quotes. Now she's texting me like crazy at the office, but I think I lost all respect for her and what she's become. Not only does she find me overbearing and embarrassing as a husband, but then I found out she mocks me to her friends and exposes some sensitive relationship issues to her group chat. This will probably be the last update since I don't think I can come back from this. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary last month too. I feel like a loser now after seeing what my wife actually thinks of me. Commenter, are you a stay-at-home father? OP responds, we both work. She makes about $100K a year while I make around $70K. She earns more, but she's definitely not the only income in our household. What makes my job great is that my boss lets me have a lot of flexibility, so I can work from home and take care of the house and kids as long as I give them a heads up. Not the final update, November 12th, 2024. I know I'm going to get some hate from my decision at the end of all of this, but I gave my wife one more chance. She gave me a real apology for her actions and how she treated me about 2 weeks ago. In her own words, she let her friends' comments at work and her best friends affect her too much. My wife wanted to feel included in the group by playing both sides, one that has a useless husband and one that has a clingy husband. She's not using them as an excuse and did take full responsibility for how poorly she treated me, which is a plus. She suggested some sort of marriage counseling for us and insisted on doing the planning herself to show me she's dead serious on wanting to make this work. She's copied me in her communications with a counselor, but it'll still be a while before our first appointment. She stepped up in the home too, doing more tasks without me asking. The compliments I used to get have also made a return, so I do feel a little more appreciated. My wife promised me that she wouldn't lie to her friend group anymore and give me the credit I deserve. The work friends I don't know about, their opinions on me, will forever be as they are, even though she talked to them. Part of this feels disingenuous since it took us getting into a bad spot for this to happen. Maybe it's just resentment talking. I just hope this works out for our sake and the kids. And no, she has not been cheating or had some guy in her ear telling her things. A lot of DMs are asking about that. Update on the progress thus far. December 4th, 2024. I won't bother posting this on the Am I the Asshole sub since my situation no longer requires it. Warning that this will be very long. In short, my wife and I went through our first marriage counseling session. At first, it was extremely awkward having to talk about our problems to someone outside our marriage. A bit silly considering I'm here doing it on Reddit, but in person with zero anonymity is something else. I won't say everything that we discussed, but my wife ended up sharing her thought process on how things escalated this far. Years of her having me do most of the things in her home had left her complacent, so she took me for granted. Our marriage counselor suggested that both of us find some individual therapy. Her for her tendency to try and fit in everywhere, mine for trying to take on everything without wanting to ask for any help. We both like our counselor, so we'll be visiting her again for another appointment. That's something we're still working on, but for now, we've been taking things a bit more evenly in regards to everything in our relationship. Chores are split at around 70-30, and we're planning a cooking schedule that's fair for both of us. What I'm really happy about is her taking the initiative with our dates again. Now, it doesn't feel like a one-sided effort. I can't wait for her to be the one leading the romance. She's also set the record straight with her group of friends, so I'm not a useless husband to them. That was also pretty awkward, but no one reacted in a dramatic way. The only issues are her work friends. She's on the lookout for a better job, not for pay, but just looking for a less unhealthy work environment. I just want to thank you for the support and advice I've gotten from all of you. I have a good feeling that we can make it through this. Since OP has no further updates, I can only hope and assume the best. This, might be the first time that I've seen someone be accused of weaponized competence. In the beginning, Buddy just wanted credit for his work and not to be called a lazy piece of shit to her friends, and instead was then accused of, "You're holding what you do for me against me." Just appreciate it. Don't lie to your friends, and don't demean and humiliate your husband to your coworkers. A lot of the comments in OP's posts are along the lines of, "Hey, if she doesn't want you, I'll take you." Literally the meme of, "Oh, my lobster's too buttery, my steak is too juicy. I'm angry." If I had a partner who did all that shit for me, I would be bragging nonstop about that. Instead, she chose to complain about in earshot of her husband that he doesn't do anything around the house, and also that he does too much and it's embarrassing. God forbid your significant other loves you. I am glad they're attempting to work it out, but it is so goddamn telling that she was willing to spit this kind of venom, thinking that he would just take it. But the moment she got a whiff, an inkling of the idea, that he might actually be done with her shit. Suddenly, it's just tail between the legs, immediate apology, and doing what she can to make up for it. It makes me wonder if he didn't get upset or if he didn't find those messages, if she would continue to label him as being bitchy and continuing her insults directed towards him. But for now, I do hope that couples therapy went well for them and worked out in their favor. This post was collected by Snarf Blatten Concert, and their tagline is, "When both sides be postin', the karma be farmin'." The original OP is throw RA creepy party and r/relationship advice. My 28 female husband, 28 male, took me to a creepy party his friend, 28 male, hosted, and now I feel uncomfortable around his friends. Posted September 13th, 2021. My husband has this group of friends who he's very close to. They all grew up together and still see each other regularly. They've always been nothing but nice to me for the entire 3 years I've known them, and before this, had never made me feel uncomfortable in any way. On Saturday, it was his friend's birthday, so he invited us to his party. At the party, there was a table full of gross things like you would see on a survival show, and these men were paying some girls to eat them, and they were filming it and laughing at them. My husband intentionally kept me away from that side of the party, but at one point, I needed to use the restroom and I couldn't find him after. So I ended up there. When I was there, this random guy came up to me and tried to get me to eat one of the nasty things. He was pretty aggressive about it. One of my husband's friends saw me and he told the guy, "Not her." And then he asked me where my husband was and made a joke about how he shouldn't have let me out of his sight. He then stuck to me like glue until we found my husband again, at which point he whispered something to him and then left. I feel so repulsed and creeped out by the whole thing. I literally had a nightmare about the party. It doesn't help that I spoke to one of the girls and she said she had no idea this was going to happen before she got there. The dilemma I have is that we see them often. We're supposed to see them in 2 weeks, but I feel so uncomfortable just at the thought of having to be around them, especially the host. Honestly, I see them all differently now, and it's even made me see my husband slightly differently, even though he never participated. I feel like I'm doing a horrible job at explaining it, but the whole thing was extremely creepy to me. I don't know how to tell my husband this. Those friends are like family to him, and I feel like refusing to go will cause tension between us and make him feel like I'm forcing him to choose between me and his friends. Any advice on what to do? Too Long Didn't Read, a husband's friend hosted a creepy party where men were filming and laughing at girls eating the gross things they paid them to eat. It's made me see his friends entirely differently now, and I feel uncomfortable around them. OP shares what the gross survival show things were. There was a lot of things, but I noticed there were live insects, eyeballs, bull testicles, smoothies, and pig uterus. I know there are probably places or cultures that eat this, and I'm not trying to insult anyone by saying it's gross, but the things stunk really badly, and I feel like they intentionally made the stuff look as disgusting as possible. I didn't eat any of it, so maybe it tasted better than it looked, but I doubt it based on the smell. OP writes how she knew what the gross foods were. They had labels with prices. OP describes the relationship statuses of the friend group. The host has a fiancé, 3 of them are married. The rest all have partners except for 2 who are single. OP responds to the question, were the friends who have spouses and fiancés participating at this party? Not the married one, since they were the ones I spent most of my time with. The host probably did, but I never saw him do anything. I saw 2 of his friends there who were definitely watching and participating. One was single, one was in a relationship. Honestly, the more I read the comments and think about it, the more sick I feel. I wish he never took me. I don't understand why he would even want to go. Update, 18th of January 2022. I posted a few months ago about the creepy party my husband's friend hosted. I was supposed to see them 2 weeks after my original post, but I got out of it. My anxiety was sky high and it made me physically sick, so I had a legitimate reason for skipping the event. It took me a long time before I actually gathered the courage to say anything to my husband about what happened that day, even though he had been asking multiple times before if I was okay. When I first told him, he was super understanding and promised nothing like that would ever happen again. While he was upset, when I told him I didn't want to be around his friends, he told me he understood and wouldn't force me. Also, he already knew what happened with the guy who approached me, his friend told him. All he would say was that he had handled it and it wouldn't happen again. He continued hanging out with his friends separately, and eventually, they asked him why I was never there anymore, and he told them. They did reach out to apologize and justify the party, but I never responded to any of them. Things started getting better until recently. My in-laws hosted a birthday dinner for my husband. I asked my husband if his friends would be there, and he told me it was just going to be family. When we got there, his friends were all there. I ended up leaving the dinner without telling anyone because I couldn't handle being around them when they were all trying to act like nothing had happened. I did text my husband when I was in the Uber, but he was pissed at me when he got home for leaving the way I did. We had a big fight, and I ended up locking him out of our bedroom because he wouldn't drop it. He's still angry at me over what happened, but I'm pissed at him too. During the fight, he said I needed to get over what happened and that his friends wouldn't hurt me. He kept telling me I had nothing to be worried about because he was right there, and he wouldn't let anything happen to me. I got really angry at him and asked him if I had nothing to worry about, like I had nothing to worry about at the party because I was married to him. I asked him, would he still say that if we weren't married, or if I would have been fair game then? He implied I had misunderstood what was happening at the party, that I had worked myself up over nothing, and that I was being ridiculous. That's pretty much the update. I just wanted to thank everyone for all of the advice and comments in my original posts. It really helped me realize I wasn't crazy for feeling the way I was feeling, and I kept coming back and reading the comments when I felt like I was being irrational. Too Long Didn't Read husband was initially very understanding, and I didn't have to be around his friend. He tricked me into going to his birthday dinner when he knew they would be there, and is now angry at me for secretly leaving. OP questioned her husband's attitude towards the creepy parties. Redditor 1. What bothers me is that her husband's reassurance that she has nothing to worry about implies that he's okay with giving the other girls something to worry about. So gross. Redditor 2. That's what got me too. Like, it's only awful and disrespectful if it's my wife, but I have no problem watching and laughing at other women being degraded. Redditor 3. The real issue is this shouldn't be entertainment for anyone. If I were OP, I'd make husband answer what makes her so different from the women at the party. And will he ever just decide she isn't worth respect and decide it's her turn to eat the fear factor bullshit? Will he ever decide he can make her do whatever he wants if he's the breadwinner? OP responds, I tried to make him answer your first question. He told me I was changing the subject. OP gets advice on clearing the air with her husband's family. Redditor, if I were you, I'd text the parents and explain why you're uncomfortable in full. Creepy detail. Make them think twice about their son's friends and judgment. OP responds, the thing is, I don't know if they'll side with me. His friends are the sons of their friends, so part of me is worried that this is just normal for all of them, and I'll look crazy trying to make this an issue. OP asked, am I the asshole for leaving my husband's birthday dinner because I didn't want to be around his friends without saying goodbye? Shortly before the update, it shares no different information from the post above. Top comment rating, not the asshole. I read your other post, OP. I don't think you owe those friends anything. At the creepy party, you were treated like a victim. Until his friends knew who you were, wife instead of paid party girl, they were targeting you and wanting you to eat the weird things and film you. Those friends saw women and immediately categorized you as girl here for our amusement. They didn't see any women at the party as people. In your description of the party, you talk about how the women there were paid to eat gross things, how they were filmed and mocked. I wonder if you would feel differently if everyone at the party was being filmed eating the stuff. But it was just women being targeted. In college, I went to some frat parties and saw frat members do gross shit. Drink a gallon of milk and then immediately barf it up. Drink alcohol until they passed out and pissed their pants. I went to a private college with some rich kids, and there were more than a few early 2000s camcorders catching it all. It bothered me. It made me wonder if I should hang out with those guys because I worried that at some point, they'd want me to be the target of the humiliation. I would be willing to bet that's what's happening to you. You watch this group humiliate these women, you now realize your husband is at the very least cool with it, since he knows about it. You also had them start to target you until one guy said something like, not that one. I don't think you owe his friend group anything. I hope you can figure out a way to deal with this. I hope your husband can grow up here and honor the vows he made to you. Girl, run. Not even the girls who showed up to the party knew what they would be in for. And the fact that the moment you were alone, they began to try to prey on you too, Yeah, creepy isn't the right word for this. This is downright disturbing and so many other words that are just... Good lord. I definitely would not be able to look at my significant other the same, let alone their friends, if I had experienced something like this. This is horrific. The cherry on top, of course, without a doubt, is the fact that girls who were participating had no idea this is what they had signed up for. That element right there is the straw that breaks the camel's back. This post was collected by Quality Proof. It was originally posted to r/legal advice by Throwaway Student 1990. Posted September 25th, 2018. Being sued for helping a choking victim. I was eating at a dinner with some friends at 3 a.m. The guy in the booth next to us started coughing and gagging. I realized he was choking and went to help him. I had Heimlich training at my place of work. I'm office safety manager for my floor. The guy managed to get the thing out and it flew across the booth. He looked really pissed, paid his bill, and left. I felt like a little hero the rest of the dinner and then just kind of forgot about it. This was 2 weeks ago. Today, I got a letter from the law firm that I'm getting sued for battery. They said I bruised a rib. I have no clue how this guy figured out who I am. I thought I helped the guy, seeing as he probably would have choked without help. How did he figure out who I am? I never actually spoke to him. Is this a real letter? Do I need a lawyer for this? Edit: the language I used to describe him choking was wrong. He was choking, gagging sounds, but otherwise silent and obviously distressing. Update. Well, I took y'all's advice and went back to the restaurant. I spent about an hour and a half waiting and then speaking with a shift manager who called the general manager who called the owner. And they swore up and down that no one had come to ask for a tape or anything of the sort. Then I started looking for defense attorneys, but I wasn't sure exactly how to proceed. Honestly, this week I've been mortified and really on edge. Finally, when I told my friends about everything, one of them fessed up to the fact that it was actually them, and they made it up as some kind of prank. Pretty twisted joke. I wasn't laughing. I'm pretty pissed and seriously reconsidering my relationship with him. I appreciate everyone's support, excluding the people who made fun of my mother's death or tried to figure out where I lived. What the hell? So, I couldn't find any evidence of OP's mom being brought up or any of that kind of stuff, but I did find this, which is just several comments just purged from reality from the moderators. So I can only assume. Also, that is not a prank. Hee hee ha ha, here's a lawsuit. Impending stress and legal complications that might make your life hell. Damn, dude, so funny. Anyways, I'm gonna sue you for emotional distress. Actually, unironically, you probably actually have a case for emotional distress if someone filed a fake lawsuit against you. Damn, wouldn't that be a fun inner reverse card? But I hope since 2018, OP has found better friends who don't find this to be a prank. Hey, GamerSubs is doing Christmas in July right now, where if you buy tubs, you get free stuff, up to $250 in free gifts while supplies last. I've pretty much got every single video that I have uploaded on my vacation set to have this outro, so hopefully supplies last up until I get back. But yeah, definitely take a look at this if this interests you, and if you've been looking to snag up a good amount of tubs, then definitely do so. And use code EYES at checkout for 10% off of the tubs you're going to be buying to get more free stuff. So hey, it's a win-win.